Today is a day for us to consider all sorts of wonderful things because I am wonderful and I love considering wonderful things. I sent away in the mail today, or rather a few days ago, and it came today for a magnifying glass. And I sent away for a device that you can bring things from one computer to another and so forth. Well, the magnifying glass came through just fine. It's one of these stand-up magnifying glasses from the floor, and it enlarges things very comfortably. You can read a whole book under it and do nicely when the type is small. So what happened? The information that came with the device for copying things is so tiny, so little, that I take two or three magnifying glasses to figure out what's on it. Why do they do that? They're selling this and they want you to operate it correctly, and they make it so tiny that you cannot read it with normal eyes. And if you got glasses, that helps a little bit, but if you got my magnifying glass, it helps a lot. So, you see, I am ready to take on all comers. I'm ready to take on all experiences and do just beautifully. And what I find most charming is Ruby loves to be close to me. Ruby is my beautiful not golden retriever, sure, my beautiful American pit bull. And she loves to be near me. She likes to sit on my feet, likes to give me a bath all the time whenever she can. She thinks I'm her little puppy. Well, she just moved under the tripod here for the screen for our iPhone and didn't touch it one little bit. She's at least 4 inches away from every leg, beautifully pitched. She knows what she's doing. Now, that's my choice to have that be that way. So, back to our magnifying glass. Many times people complain, oh, that type is too small. Oh, that's too hard to read. Oh, that's too difficult. Oh, get a magnifying glass. Here I am, 25 years old, and I finally bought a proper magnifying glass. Ellen, she didn't buy a magnifying glass at all. She just left her daddy leave it to her in his will. And he says, of all the people I want to have my magnifying glass that I have used for all the important things that the type was too small, I want my daughter Ellen to have it. And Ellen has that in her desk. She has it not in her desk, on top of her desk much of the time, because she likes to have it out where she can refer to it with some of the tiny type that comes on some of the modern things that they send out these days. It's not as though she's reading her Bible with it. She's memorized the Bible, so she hardly needs to read it anymore. But the thing is, she has this magnifying glass. Now, why did she wait for her father to pass on and leave it to her? Why didn't she buy one for her before that? Well, she didn't buy it for herself before that because she didn't think she needed it. And now that she had it, since her father passed on, how many years ago was that? Umpty-dump years ago, and she has been using it regularly on her desk. We sometimes don't realize that we should put our attention on making things easy for ourselves. And we make things easy for ourselves by using a magnifying glass because it's so wonderful. Anita oftentimes comes in here and says, Herb, what is this on here? I can't read this. And I say, well, Anita, you're the one around here with the ideal eyes. You should read everything. And so she takes out her glasses and puts them on. She says, oh, and I can see it. And I say, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But she just chooses to read without glasses. Ellen has been doing that lately, too. Ellen has been practicing reading without her glasses. And she has some very minor correction glasses, just drugstore type glasses, and she wears them now and then, but she practices reading without glasses, and she says, you know, when I read without glasses, I improve my eyes. I improve my eyes because I believe I can see it. I look at something and I say, I can see that, I can read that, I can know what's there. And so when she does that, what's she doing? She's reading without glasses. And when she reads without glasses, she reads beautifully. Now, I'm going to say abracadabra, Ellen, abracadabra. You are now reading without glasses. You are now reading with perfect eyesight. You are now reading the tiniest print as though it were 18-point type, you know, and you're reading it easily and beautifully and wonderfully. And now, do you think Ellen believes what I say? Do you? Do you think she believes what I say? I think she'd like to believe it. Now, when Ellen picks up something with tiny type on it, and it's something important, like for instance, Ellen found a piece of paper on the street, and the piece of paper was just from the trash bins that blew out of somebody's trash bin. She didn't know who it belonged to, but there was a name and address on there, but in such tiny type that no one in their right eyes could really know what it was. Ellen picks it up, and she says, I know what that is. I can read that perfectly. And so what does she do? She reads it perfectly because the surprise, because of the unusualness of it, because of the magic of something that's different and something she's not familiar with. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful for all of us. We all can do that. We all can read much more beautifully than we do. We all can do on things much more wonderfully than we do, but we don't. Because we don't not force ourselves, but we don't require ourselves to have the right attitude of mind. Now, what is the right attitude of mind? The right attitude of mind is, I read perfectly. I read all things perfectly. I have perfect eyes. I have perfect, oh well, you can correct them with glasses and so forth and so. It doesn't matter if they're not perfect because that's easy to take care of. That's not a disease that's going to be bad. Well, it's bad because you have an imperfection about you. Now, do you know that Ellen has not one imperfection about herself? Not one imperfection. She is called the perfect lady. She is called the ideal lady, the ideal grandmother. Oh my goodness, yes. The ideal grandmother, the ideal mother. But she have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Standard brand, you know. Everybody gets a boy and a girl. I had a boy. And so what does she do? She raises them as though they were angels. She raises them as though they were magic people. And so what did they do? They turned out to be magic people. And they in turn have magic children. And each one of these children is ideal and wonderful, capable to do anything that you expect a Swiss or a German child to do. Anything. They can ski, they can ice hockey, they can do all these things. And they're good at tennis, and they're good at, they don't play golf. They're good at, they play golf? Oh, good for them. And they swim, and they're good at everything. And they also are bankers. They love to handle money. They create money fluently in their experience in their life. One of her sons, when he was growing up, the grandson with a girlfriend was the daughter of the president of the bank, the owner of the bank. And then the daughter had to go away to school or something, and so the owner of the bank had remarried many years ago and had another daughter who was about the same age as the daughter that he was going around with. And so he didn't get the first daughter of the president of the bank, but he got the second daughter of the president of the bank. He's always thinking high, always thinking positive, always thinking magnificent. And you see, all of us can. Why don't you go around with the president of the bank, you know? Why don't you go around with the son of the president of the bank or the daughter of the president of the bank? Why don't you go around with the vice president's son of the United States? You know? Why don't you do these things? Well, you can. You can. And it's a marvelous experience. It's a marvelous experience when we set the cause in motion for those things that we think are important to us, for those things that are nice for us, those things that are desirable for us. When we set the cause in motion for that, then we have it. But when we don't set it in motion, when we say, I need magnifying glasses to read with, and I need glasses to read with, and I need whatever, then we have it. But just be thankful that you can be as wonderful as I am at my age of 25, where I am living in my dynamic, ideal, spirit-minded body, with everything about me perfect and everything about me wonderful, and I love everybody and everybody loves me, and I think this is a wonderful world. And you know why I can say that and say it with conviction? Because my dog loves me unconditionally. And if your dog loves you unconditionally, you've got to be a pretty nice guy. Well, you say, some crooks and robbers and unkind people have dogs that love them because they treat... Well, why do the dogs love them? Because they treat their dogs with love, and the dog treats them with love. Now, the bank robber could treat the banks with love, and he could marry the banker's daughter, and he wouldn't have to rob the bank. You see, we don't have to do these unfortunate things. We can do these happy things by putting the cause in motion. I am now independently wealthy. I live in my ideal spirit, mind, and body. I like me, I like me, I like me. You right?
Yes.
All is in divine order. And when we say that, then we're living the highest and the best that we could ever have, because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Have a lovely day and know that I love you. I love you. I love you.